Hey guys, Joshua chapter 6. God talks to Joshua and tells him that he has given Jericho to him, not only the mighty warriors, but also the king. He told him exactly what to do. You know the story. Walking around 7 times and God flattens the city. But I want to call your attention to something that I believe is the root of what makes Joshua different. The root of all true obedience. Verse 6, it says, Joshua the son of Nun called the priests and said to them, "Take up the ark of the covenant." First things first, Joshua applied himself to the presence of the Lord. He cleaved to. He directly contacted and clung to the presence of the Lord first. I believe this is what separates Joshua. We know he stayed with the Lord when Moses left. We see that he had a strong connection to the presence of the Lord. But even when God gave him specifics of what he would do, he went straight to applying himself to, clinging to the presence of the Lord. I feel like many of us have been given specifics from God about our life. And I want to encourage you to have a heart like Joshua that puts first thing first. Apply yourself to the presence. In other words, cleave to his presence. Prioritize his presence. Put your attention upon his presence first, and then let obedience flow forth from this attention to his presence. I believe that we value the person of Christ when we prioritize the presence of Christ. You've heard the old term, leave and cleave. When 2 people get married, you leave and cleave. A lot of people have left the world, turned their back on the world, but they have failed to cleave. And this is why men become miserable. And I think when we turn our backs, we leave and we cleave to the presence of the Lord. This is where we have a Joshua-like heart that prioritizes God first, and in obedience to God, we see God work miracles and perform deeds on our behalf, or even bring about his own purposes in our lives through our prioritizing his presence. So I just want to encourage you that it is this prioritizing his presence that is most important of all. And this, I believe, looks like communion with God. For instance, the priests would go in before the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of Mercy, the mercy seat, and there they would stand before God in communion with him. So apprehending or cleaving to the presence of God, I believe, is simply communion with him above all things. It is first priority, and obedience issues out of that. We cannot take obedience and replace presence with obedience. It just doesn't work that way. How can you obey joyfully and in gladness the way that God desires us to, without first prioritizing God? So the fact that the priests who stand before the Lord in his presence now have the presence outside, walking around, it shows us a life lived prioritizing the presence and obeying that brings victory. This can be applied to overcoming sin. It can be applied to our marriages. It can be applied to direction. It can be applied to all kinds of things in the Christian life. To have a heart like Joshua, first things first, I go straight to the presence of God. And then from here, I obey what God says. I obey from the power that comes from the presence of the Lord. So just want to encourage you. I've been thinking about doing short videos like this every day. If that's something you'd be interested in, comment down below, and I'll be able to make a decision from there, see if it's something that you can commit to watching. But thank you so much to my patrons who are supporting us with $1 a month. If you want to become a patron, it just means that you love us and you want to support us with 25 cents a week. And you go to the website that's below, you sign up to be a patron, and then $1 a month comes out of your account, supports our ministry, and you receive from us special videos. But love you guys, praying for you. Thank you so much for subscribing, watching. Let us prioritize the person of the Lord by applying ourselves, cleaving to the sweet presence of God. And from there, let obedience bring us into victory. God bless you.
For it was the Father's good pleasure for all the fullness to dwell inside of him. The point I'm trying to start everything off with is that nothing begins apart from Jesus. He's the starting point. And not only is he the starting point platform, but he is the actual sustaining and birthing of the thing so that it can all go back to him as the goal of the thing. And Revelation is no different. It's all an unveiling of the person of Jesus that is the means by which God performs the things he's going to through Jesus.